Mike, you want to do the intro today?
Sure, if you want.
Go for it.
Okay. All right, ready? 1, 2, 3. Welcome to We Can't Code, the show where two guys talk about stuff that they can't really make themselves and bitch and complain. My name is Michael.
I'm Ben.
And as you probably have already noticed, because this is our 22nd episode, we will start with what we did the past week between episodes. And this one's been a kind of a long one. It's been like 2 weeks since the last episode.
Yeah, we've had kind of conflicting schedules lately, but
yeah,
we'll see what happens with that. We'll make it work.
Whoop, whoop. You didn't do it. I was kind of surprised.
No, I didn't. It was the perfect intro, and then you had to interrupt yourself.
Yeah, I had to. There has to be at least once in there.
There doesn't.
Every episode's been so far. Every episode.
Doesn't need to be that.
You continued it, by the way. I didn't do it one episode, but you did it, so it is canon now to do it every episode.
But that was just for revenge. I just wanted a nice intro. It's all I want in life. Mike.
So that's why you want me to do the intro this time, so you wouldn't have it in there.
I didn't think you would go so far to interrupt yourself. Yes.
It had to be like I was waiting for you to do it, so I had to do it.
No. All right. So honestly, okay, it's been 3 weeks since we've done a podcast. Well, not 3 weeks. So we've got plenty to talk. At least I've got plenty to talk about in terms of what I've been playing. I've been jumping around from one thing to another. I've got like 10 games on my list of what I've all been doing. What do you like?
Yeah,
I'm thinking that we could probably just stick with what we've been playing this week, and we'll do the top 5. We'll do that. We might trim some of the fat at the back end, but I don't know. Like,
sounds good.
Let's start with things that we played solo last week. So what have you been doing?
So I played more Breath of the Wild. I'm having a good time with it still. I got sidetracked pretty badly trying to do this free DLC that they added to the game where it's the DLC is that they added these armor pieces to the game from another game. I don't know what the game is, but it's like, I think X Chronicles or something like that.
Oh, yeah, Xena Chronicles.
Xena Chronicles. So that's the game that the armor that they put in there. And to find them, you had to go to these points that the game hints at and look for these falling stars. And you follow the falling stars to a point, and then that's where the armor is. I did one successfully, very easily, because I actually tracked it just fine. Then when I saw it hit the ground, it shot this huge beacon to the air. It wasn't like the beacons that you see in our map. It's just this beacon that you just physically see while you're playing the game. So I got that one easily. But the other two were just like I would show up to them, and at one I showed up when it was during a blizzard storm, so I could only follow it for a little bit, and then it just disappeared, and there was literally no beacon, and it flew like miles and miles and miles and miles and miles away. So I was like, all right, maybe
fuck that.
Like I jumped off the cliff to go find it, and it was a blizzard, and so I looked for a solid like 20 minutes, and I was like, fuck, huh? Like what? I was so annoyed because it was during, like, I should have done it during a blizzard. I thought that was a bad idea, but it was an area where, you had to consume something to keep you warmer, otherwise you freeze to death.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, all right, I'll just do this then. I just ran up there and did it. And then I was like, well, fuck. And I've been trying to redo it over and over again to see if I can see it fall again, but I've yet seen it actually fall again. So I don't know if the item's permanently lost forever, if it's still out there. And the sad thing is, it happened to the second location too, because there's 3 locations. And the second one, the exact same thing happened, but I literally saw it land, but nothing happened. Like, there was no marker. So I went over the area, I saw nothing. So I'm not sure if I have to wait a while for it to fall again, or if the items are there still, and maybe it fell in the water somewhere, and I just didn't realize it yet.
Yeah.
Because there are some rare items I found out in Breath of the Wild that are just under waterfalls or just randomly in water, that you can only find because in the game, you know the magnet ability, right?
Yeah.
Because so in the game, there's this magnet ability that you have, and when you turn that on, you can see anything that you can actually magnetize. And even if they're underwater, then they highlight themselves. And I was like, okay, cool. So I'm kind of worried that one actually fell underwater, and there's a lot of water. I'm just saying Breath of the Wild. Breath of the Wild is a huge fucking game. And so now I'm kind of pissed because now I have this side quest that's permanently locked on there. And I'm kind of a completionist, and if I don't get rid of all the quests, I get really pissed off, and it kind of discourages me a lot. So I finally, though, put that aside and continue the main quest. and I'm heading towards the mountains, and that's as far as I get, because sadly I got distracted by the armor pieces, which was still a lot of fun though, because I explored more of the map, ran into these cool scenarios. Oh yeah. There is one funny too. Before I start hunting the treasures though, for the map, for the armor pieces, there's this one quest I had from the water people. This guy's wife disappeared. He goes like, I need to help me find my wife. I'm like, cool. He goes like, yeah, she got washed away down the river all the way to Haru Lake. I'm like, okay, that can't be too far. That bitch went across 5 map locations I had to go, and I finally see her in this giant lake. And I talked to her. It's like, oh, hey, how you doing? I'm just, like, catching some fish. And I go, like, yeah, remember your husband? It's like, oh, shit, my husband. That's right.
Oh, man, him? Oh, I'm so dumb.
And then all she gave me was 5 fish. And I'm like, I just traveled across 5 maps. I died 5 times to find you, and you gave me 5 fish.
Okay, she's cheating on him 100%. Here's what's going on right there. She's a fish that got washed away. No, that doesn't happen. And then she just forgets her husband. Like, oh, that's right, I have a husband. No, she's sleeping with another dude.
Dude, she was gone for a week. I mean, I went through 7 nights and day cycles just to find her. And I died so many times. Given though, I did run into some very cool scenarios because I went by the castle, the main castle in the game. And it was guarded by those machine guardians things that blow you up instantly. Oh yeah, and I lost a horse. My horse died finding this woman. So I lost a horse for 5 fish. But I did have some epic moments in the game where I was actually zigzagging through trees, avoiding blasts. It was pretty cool though, and epic. Because they lock onto you, and then their beam blinks a little bit, and then it's solid. So I'm like, shit! And so I do a dodge roll behind a tree, and the tree explodes, falls over. It was a cool thing, but I died a lot, though, doing that.
Yeah.
But I can't fully come like I said, because I did relate to that epic moment of me just zigzagging through trees, avoiding explosions like in an action movie.
But, Mike, how tasty were the fish?
I ate them already. I ate them in one go, because I had no health. I was kind of pissed.
No, stupid bitch.
Because there were only like 3 hearts each. I was like, I lost a horse. It was a good horse, too. I named him Blacko. And I lost him. I was really sad when it happened. He got burned alive. I watched him run off on a fire and just fall over and die. It was pretty heartbreaking to see. Because I got knocked off and he started running on fire, just trotting. This all of a sudden just collapsed. I was like, oh, Blacko, you died for a good cause. And then I got there and I got 5 fish. You died for 5 fish, Blacko? I was so mad. Because it was my first good horse I actually had tamed. I was like, yes, a good horse finally. And you died. For no reason. But yeah, so that's been Breath of the Wild.
For 5 whole fish, Mike.
They were cooked too already. It kind of reminded me of Blacko a bit. I was a little sad actually when I got that. I was like, oh, Blacko, you died for nothing. But then I also beat those Super Hot, which was pretty cool. Because actually the game then fully unlocks itself, where you get these, just horde mode when you try to last as long as you can, and you do that. If you keep on doing that, if you kill a certain amount of people in the horde mode, well, not a certain amount of people, because there's only one enemy type in that game, it unlocks other modes where there are these time trials where it's like kill 20 people in this amount of time and all that stuff, which is really cool.
Mm-hmm.
I thought what was also neat too is that when you beat the game, it kind of has like this quirky little story thing at the end, and they give you, because like, oh, now you're part of the system, all we need to tell people is this, and it's like you have to tell the people, it wants you to tell other people that it's like the best and innovative first person shooter ever out there, and it gives you a coupon to send to other friends with that saying and all that stuff, so you can give friends that coupon, all that stuff, to get a discount to buy it. Which I thought was pretty clever and really cool. It's like, hey, you beat the game, here's a coupon to give to other friends to play too, and all that. I mean, it's only a single player game, but it's
a cool idea.
No, yeah, the horde mode's a lot of fun though, and I'm actually really enjoying the time trial thing, just killing 20 people. And that's only one version. There's still a whole bunch of things I got unlocked, which is, I think, really cool.
Yeah, I know that in the virtual reality version, there's like 6 different survival areas you can go to. Is that?
Yeah, there's about like 6 too. You have to unlock them. But what's is nice is that like when I first saw them, it said, like, you have to get 130 kills to unlock this level. I'm like,
fuck.
In one round, I was like freaking like, how the hell am I gonna do this? I only get up to 20, and then I realized that it counts down, so it's just like overall how many you kill. Like, okay, cool, that's easy to do then. I was like, I had like a little heart attack when I saw it. I was like, fuck, I'm really bad at this game then.
Oh god.
Because that was like the first one you had to do to unlock the next level thing. But it's a lot of fun though, and I'm actually enjoying it more than the campaign, because the campaign's the same thing. But this one, they're more unique situation, all that stuff. And I like in the non VR version, you can actually possess other players. So you leave your body and become an enemy and all that stuff, which is pretty cool. The only thing I don't like about that, though, is that you immediately just drop your weapon. You don't even throw it, like, you know, in Hot, you can throw your weapon at enemies just to...
Yeah.
This one, though, when you do that, you just drop it. Even if it hits something, they don't do anything to them.
Yeah, I saw another buddy playing, and they were doing, like, the possession thing, and yeah, the weapon just flies out of the guy's hand.
Yeah, that's it. I do, like... The game is a lot of fun, because it's always cool getting these really interesting situations. I remember once, like... When I was playing the horde mode, I killed one guy, and then like I immediately turn around, and all of a sudden there's a guy with a sword who just got shot by the dude that was in front of me by his bullets, who was about to cut me in half. I was like, oh shit! So I immediately grabbed his sword and just chucked it at someone else. I was like, it was a really cool epic moment that I didn't realize that this guy's right behind me, about to cut me, and he just got shot by the dude in front of me, grabbed his weapon and threw it at someone else and killed him. I was like, that was really fucking badass.
I always love that when they kill each other. That's so funny.
And when you die, it's really cool too, because then it gives you the replay at normal speed. And even though you feel like you're moving really glitchy, it's really smooth in normal mode though, and it just looks badass to watch.
Yeah.
And you can like slow mo, and it's cool too is that in that horde mode you can actually crop and all that stuff and save the replay and like edit it yourself, which is really cool. So that one, I was really happy to beat the Super Hot. Actually, the last time I talked about it, I was really close in beating it. I was already on the last level of it too. And like I said, the horde mode's better than the campaign, but the campaign was still a lot of fun. It was still an interesting story and all that stuff. Nothing groundbreaking. It was just a very quirky story. But it really set the tone of the game, which I thought. And then I've been watching a lot of different shows lately because my girlfriend loves television, and now that we have cable now, I've been watching more television. TVs, sorry.
Did you watch more Home Alone, Mike?
No. Thank God, no. That's in the past.
No more Home Alone. Mike's gonna for the next holiday season, Mike's gonna be breaking and hiding all the discs in all corners of the house.
Just turn on the sinks.
No more Macaulay Culkin, please.
It was a bad time, Ben. It's a very bad time.
It's a dark moment of my life.
But I actually been watching Tim Allen's latest television show, Last Man Standing. Which it's really good, actually. I like it a lot.
Yeah, that's he works at like a hunt shop something.
Yeah, he owns his own like Bass Pro Shop.
Yeah.
And it's like one of those basic family television shows. I actually enjoy it a lot. The family's actually more realistic and all that stuff. Still a little quirky to make it funny, but I've been enjoying it nonstop. When I've been watching it, and it's been nice since now we have cable, because we used to only have bunny ears, and those would always glitch out every time, drive me insane. But now we actually have a solid connection.
Moving on up, Mike.
Oh yeah, I'm living the high life now, Ben.
Mike's big time.
Yeah, no more of those bunnies anymore. I'm high class. Another show I've been watching religiously though now, like all the bloody times, is Criminal Minds, and I'm enjoying that show nonstop. Yeah, I'm already on the 4th season, and it's still good.
I've heard that one's super good. Yeah.
I just pricked myself something on our couch, and now I'm bleeding.
Oh. If you want to rub and grab some, I don't know.
No, fine. It'll stop by itself, but I have no idea what I just touched. But I just...
It was over here?
Yeah.
Huh. Alright, I'll stay away from that side.
Yeah, let's just avoid that part then. Sorry, back to the podcast.
Alright. Mike's bleeding all over my room, guys.
No, it's only on the finger.
There's blood everywhere.
It's just squirting out. It's awful. I'm just spreading it.
Gonna have to claim this area as a biohazard and call in CDC.
Ben, I'm sorry, I have AIDS too.
God damn it.
But yeah, and the movies I have watched the past 2 weeks, I saw the 2 latest Dragon Ball Z movies, and they were actually really good. But the people who made Dragon Ball Z actually did a partnership with these people who made a abridged version of it, in which, you know what a bridge is, right? It's just the people that actually...
Like a shortened.
Yeah, they redub it themselves and all that stuff. And these people were so famous, and their actually voice acting was so good that the people that made Dragon Ball Z actually hired them on to do voice acting for the movie and actually write some of the scripts.
Nice.
Which was very interesting because, like, the tone of it definitely had more of the bridge version than the Dragon Ball Z version, or just so I don't get beaten up, the Dragon Ball series, because Dragon Ball Z is a different part of a series in the Dragon Ball whole thing.
All right.
And yeah, you've never seen it.
Whatever. I'll let you. Dragon Ball A, B,
well, I'm
W.
just saying, I'm just saying so people don't think
shit.
that you just hate it. You just never seen it, so. And it was really which I thought was very funny, was that one of the movies was about this god that lives in space, decides to come to Earth. And everyone realizes that he's God.
Is his name Jesus?
No, it's not Jesus. It's some hairless cat dude. I forgot his name was already. But he's already planning and blowing up the planet, and everyone's super chill about it. Even Goku, the main character, is like, all he goes is like, yeah, dude, just don't blow up my planet, please. That's all he does. Like, the whole entire movie is like, hey, let's not do that. And so is like everyone else in the movie. There was like no serious tone throughout the whole movie, which made it really funny to watch. And the animation was really good too, as well. The other one I watched was what was that one about? Oh yeah, that's when Frieza comes back to life. That one actually had the same tone, a little bit more serious though too, which was interesting because then the cat god comes back, and which was important because Frieza actually blows up the planet and kills everyone. And then...
Spoiler.
No, yeah, but no one's going to be watching it anyways. It's like kind of actually no movie apparently out. But it's the latest ones. And the only kind of thing I thought was funny is because, like, the cat god's partner is like, oh yeah, I can reverse time, by the way. So I'm just going to do that. It's like, what the fuck?
Wait, what? He what?
He reverses time. He has the ability to reverse dimensional time or something like that.
Oh, that's convenient.
Yeah, I know. Because he brings it up in the beginning of the movie. I'm like, I'm guessing something really bad's going to happen, that he's going to use that ability. I'm like, long and behold, it does happen. So I was like, okay.
Huh. Yeah, that's a little convenient.
Yeah, I liked it a little bit more than the other movie, just because I really liked Frieza as a character, though. But that's what I've been doing the last 2 weeks. I also played Vermintide 2, but you played that as well.
Yeah.
And I will talk about that when we talk about your week. I'm trying to think if I played anything else lately. Breath of the Wild. We also been playing a lot of Jackbox lately, and with a lot of groups off the Twitch, which has been a lot of fun, honestly. The Twitch is a great thing for party games like that stuff. So if you ever have a Twitch and you ever see like one of those games that's like Jackbox, get it on the Twitch, because it's super easy to bring over to people's places and play.
We can talk about that for a bit right now.
Yeah.
So we played Jackbox 1 and Jackbox 4. So, excuse me, little burpee. So I bought Jackbox 4 a couple months ago. I think we talked about it on this podcast, 4 episodes ago, something like that.
I think so, but you've only played it once with a small group, and then after that we actually had a party and we played with a large group, and it was super fun.
Yeah, so now I've played it officially with different groups. I've played it 4 times now, and everyone really likes it. Initially it seems like the downside of it is you have to have a large group to play. But it's also kind of the plus side, because other games that were previous Jackbox games didn't work too well when you had a huge group. And when you had a full group of 8 people, Fibbage kind of gets a little weird when you've got 8 different answers or so to choose from.
Yeah.
But the monster dating game, or the Civic Doodle even, is pretty funny when you've got a ton of people. A lot of it just mashes. It seems like they understand that you're not just going to be playing this with 3 people normally. You're going to have at least 4. I would say, honestly, I would ask for at least 5 people during one sitting to have a good amount of people for Jackbox 4. And any less than 5 people, I think, isn't nearly as fun.
That's what's nice about having the other jet so it's if you ever get Jetpacks, the latest one, get one of the other versions, because just in case you have a small group. So it was actually nice that we had the 1 and the... What was it, 5 or 4? Sorry.
4.
4. Because, you had the 4 and I had the 1. And so, the 4 was still a lot of fun. The what was that one? The internet one?
Yeah, Survive the Internet.
Survive the internet. I really like that one with no matter like what number of group you have. Because I came over and there was just you three playing it, and then it throws in Gene, like the bot, and Gene was pretty funny. I actually liked having Gene in there.
Yeah, it gives an AI player if you don't have enough people in it, and the AI player, like everyone else, there's like a lot of sex jokes and there's a lot of profanity and whatnot. Yeah. And then Gene throws in the most vanilla thing you can think of, and just because it's like the black sheep of the group, because it's so passive in comparison to everything else, it just all the laughs all the time.
Yeah, go the Gene.
Yeah, and so it's so funny because it's just so soft served, you know. It's not like it's not so slapstick. But yeah, so Jackbox Party Pack, I can say it's probably my second favorite, if not my most favorite Jackbox game. The one thing I think it has going for it is consistency. A lot of the other Jackbox games, I typically only stick to one or two, but this is almost on the flip side, where I like 4 of the games, and I only don't really like one of the games in Jackbox 4. We spend a majority of the time switching between all the other ones, versus Jackbox 1 through 3. They're really good, but
they have some heavy garbage ones in them, though.
Yeah, the really good games that they have is like 1 or 2 games, and then the rest of them are trash. And the fun of those games is great, but it only relies on like 1 or 2 of the smaller games inside the pack.
Yeah, which I noticed too when I was trying to figure out which ones I wanted to buy, and I noticed that one had a few of the ones I was mostly into, like Drawful. I really like. I like Fibbage a lot because Fibbage is stupid fun. Because especially with the questions that it gives you, they're so freaking amazingly, like, they're always something you never expect. So like your most absurd thing you could write in could like sound almost right a lot of the times. Yeah, which I enjoyed a lot about that game.
Fibbage is just a really like a basic simple rules kind of game that anyone that says like, oh, I'm not a gamer, I don't play games, like, you can show this to someone and they'll be able to pick it up easy. There's a reason why Fibbage is in 3 out of the 4 Jackbox games.
Yeah, Fibbage is top notch. I remember just playing that with your family all the time too.
So yeah, I mean, I give a really high glowing review for Jackbox 4. The one criteria is you just have to have enough people to play with consistently. Yeah. But I mean,
that's its only downfall.
Yeah. Every time I've pulled it out, though, I've never had a problem. But that comes with the idea that I've been smart enough to know, let's not play this if there's 3 people or so that I want to play with.
Which another thing is what I love about the Switch too is that if you have one docking system, it took a millisecond for Ben to pull his out, and then I just put mine in, and we're immediately on the screen ready to go. Yeah, which I thought was awesome.
That's really cool.
And that's another thing I like about Jackbox too is that it's super easy to just immediately have it on your phone. You just go to jackbox.tv, put the code in, write a name, and you're on already, which I thought was really cool.
Did you play anything else solo? Because I might run through some of.
I'm trying to think if I don't think I played anything else because sadly Criminal Minds, me and my girlfriend had just been binge watching that, and that's been kind of eating up a lot of our stuff. We were finally trying to slow down on ourselves.
Sure. All right, well, I can run through some stuff. In the last 3 weeks, I normally make a lot of videos and stuff in my free time, but I've decided to just kind of take huge swings out of my my video game backlog. So I'm gonna talk about these games, and I think that our, like, how was your week, how was my week, I think that this whole segment's gonna take a lot longer than it normally does, but
which I don't mind. I like these too.
Yeah, but that's kind of why we're trimming out the back stuff of games coming out or like a topic or something.
Yeah, the topic was just like I do like the topics because it does they're always interesting to talk about, but the problem is with that is that sometimes either you know a lot about it, I know nothing about it, or I know a lot about it, you know nothing about it. It's just a really one-sided conversation, and it's hard to pull those into a really good podcast conversation, sadly, sometimes.
Yeah, but either way, so I've picked up and put down a bunch of different things. Just a lot of games that not a lot of these I've beaten, but I've started, I've taken a good chunk out of them, and I've made my own decisions whether or not I want to continue them or not. In all these games, I've put at least 4 or 5 hours into them, and I can say definitively after that if I'm enjoying it, if I'm not, and once again, if I want to continue with it. I'm not going to force myself to finish a game that I'm not liking.
No, the same thing like you even told me that with, and I totally agreed with you too when I was trying to play, what was that shitty one I got off Twitch? Metal something?
Oh, Tiny Metal.
Tiny Metal, yeah.
Yeah, so that's what I think. I think 4 or 5 hours is enough to gauge a game of, if I'm going to be enjoying this for the rest of the time I'm playing it. So, first one that I played solo is Hotline Miami 2, Wrong Number.
I saw that. How was that?
Yeah, so I haven't played the first one, and it's been like 4 years, 5 years.
Yeah, I haven't played
something.
that one in a long time, but I absolutely loved it. Like, I destroyed that in 2 sittings. So I was enjoying it so much.
It's really good. I like the game a lot. The main differences between the first and the second is that the second one doesn't offer as many options for choosing a character as much as the first one, and it relies a lot more on story, which the first one had a story, but it was way more ambiguous and interpretive.
Oh yeah, it took the story was 2 seconds and you're on the map.
Yeah, this one, it's not like it takes up a huge amount of time, but each mission starts with an intro to the level, and then you kind of go into it, and then there's typically like an outro, but they only take like a minute or 2 each one. It's not bad. It doesn't slow down the game at all.
If you die, do you have to rewatch it?
No.
Okay, good.
So I like it. I'm happy that they didn't change up the formula too much. The one thing I'm not the biggest fan of in this game is that there's just not a lot of variability or variation in characters. So when you start out, you only get one mask, and as in the first game, that was the same. But then you quickly got more and more masks. Each level was like a different person, and then you could go back to previous masks after that, whatever.
And each mask had their own little quirks with them.
Yeah, I think that this one in Hotline Miami 2, they all have, their own quirks, each of the masks, but I think you can only choose, like, I'm on mission 13, I think, out of 20, so I'm more than halfway through it, and maybe even 3/4 of the way through. I can't remember exactly which mission I'm on, but I've only been able to choose between like 4 or 5 masks.
Yeah.
And it's frustrating because a lot of them I'm not a big fan of. Like, one guy can't use weapons, but his punches are lethal. Another guy like can't pick anything up, but he's got a chainsaw and a gun. So like chainsaw with one click, gun with the other click. But if you run out of ammo for the gun, then
you just have the chainsaw.
Yeah. So there's a lot of things that like I like that there's variety in it. But at the same time, if you're going to limit the amount of characters that you choose, there's like, if you want to like be picking up guns and tossing them up to someone when you run out of ammo, grabbing up another one, like just by wanting more weapons, you're already cutting out like 2 out of the 5 characters. One guy can't pick up guns, the other guy can't pick up guns.
I can see what they should know with the chainsaw guy, it sounds like, is that they should have had that he can only pick up one-handed weapons. That'd been pretty cool. So you can see if he always has the chainsaw, his other hand can be either just like only one-handed guns, all that stuff, like only pistols or Uzis, if there's Uzis in the game.
Yeah, and like that makes sense, but it's just a little frustrating that, I really do like the variety in this game, and granted it doesn't switch out my playstyle too much, but I liked the smaller changes of the first game more than I liked the bigger changes of the second game. Yeah. For example, one of the masks in the first game was just, like John. He starts with a knife or something, I remember. It was one of the first guys you get. He starts with a knife. That's it. And you can slash people with the knife, you can throw the knife at someone, like it's easy. But that was like one option out of 20, and it didn't limit you to only using that knife. It didn't inhibit you any other way. It was just a small, like the tiniest perk.
Yeah, one of them was like, I remember one was being really fast. There was one that it was also more stealthy than the other ones and all that.
Yeah, I like the smaller changes than the larger changes, because the guy that starts with a chainsaw and a gun, it's 2 guys. One guy has a chainsaw, the other guy has a gun, and the other guy follows you around. It looks really cool, honestly, but once you run out of those bullets, like you can't, from what I can tell, you can't pick any more ammo up. Like you're just confined to the chainsaw from that point on.
It sounds like the first one was more about you just getting more like a choose of a perk. This one sounds like you're just picking a character, sadly, or it sounds like you get more. It's more of like a challenge instead of a perk.
Yeah, kind of. It's definitely like each time that you play through, if you play with all the different characters one map, you'll play it completely separate ways. Versus the first one, the changes might not be the biggest, but I did like more variety than more dramatic changes. Because for someone that plays the game, unless you're like trying to 100% it, you're not going to switch up your play style every single turn. You're probably going to pick a guy and stick with him. And when the changes are vast, you're absolutely going to stick with one guy and stay with him. Versus the first game, I remember, like, I'm a big fan of just grabbing guns, mowing people down, trying to get a combo. But like there were 5 guys that could do that. It's not like I was stuck with a chainsaw. It's like one guy starts with a knife, the other guy.
They just start with a unique item that you couldn't get in that level, which was nice.
Yeah, so like there were a bunch of different varieties of dudes that I could choose from in the first game to pretty much do the same thing. In this second game, there's like one guy that I pick every single time because everyone else I'd have to completely switch up my playstyle, which I'm not against, but for someone that's playing it casually, you're not gonna like try something different every single level. You're gonna do something that works and stick with that strat. So I like the game, but it's definitely got a couple hindrances in comparison to the first game. Moving on is Ori and the Blind Forest.
I remember you telling me about this.
Yeah, the definitive edition.
You're not a full fan of it.
Yeah, well, so to describe it, it's a this game has a sequel coming out soon. It's once again, it's kind of like Hotline Miami. It's a couple years old, but it's a side scroller. It's supposed to be like a really hard side scroller. The graphics look really nice. I think that it looks beautiful actually. But like you have like a homing shot where if you're close enough to someone, it attacks. So it's like it's more like worrying about platforming and jumping and like making the jump and working with your speed than it is about dealing damage. The damage is more. The enemies are more just like be wary of them, but they're not a huge deal.
Yeah.
The one thing that sucks about this game, which is like ruining the entire experience for me, and it sucks to say this because it's a really cool game except for this one respect. The most important respect is that the game is tough. It's like it's not Super Meat Boy tough, but it's really tough. But you have to manually save. You have to manually create save spots and save there. And if you don't have the right material to make a save spot, you can't save. So when a game is challenging and you haven't saved for 10 minutes, then you've got to then you die. You have to start back at that. I mean, nothing is saved. If you collected all this, you did a couple tricky jumps to get to the top of this tower, like a place that was hard to get and get like a secret item, you've got to do that again. You've got to go through the fucking cutscenes again. Everything is unskippable. Like you can't get past any of that shit. And the game is tough where, like one time I jumped down a hole and it was just immediately like thorns everywhere and I died. And I was like, okay, cool, that's retarded. How was I supposed to know that? And so it does a lot of dumb shit where the game, I don't need a game to be a cakewalk or anything in this respect. But if you're going to try to trick the player into doing things, or if you're going to have a legitimately difficult part that you unless there's a forewarning, like a sign, skull and crossbones up ahead.
That it was your own fault. Like something you just don't want to make it feel like it was the game's fault. If it felt like it was your fault, that's totally fine dying to that.
Yeah.
But nothing feels worse than when you feel like you just got gypped and it was totally on the game's fault that you died.
Precisely. If there was a little bit of a heads up, like a skull and crossbones arrow, there's a boss up ahead, or, this area is really fucking hard. Give me a moment to be like, okay, I should probably go and get enough resources to make a save spot, and then I'll continue on. That doesn't really happen. It's a fast-paced game. You kind of go through a level, you're dodging, you're shooting these auto attacks, and it's a platformer, so you're moving around, and you don't really have time to consider the dangers up ahead.
Yeah, and that's something that I can't really do anymore, especially now just being an adult, is that we have very limited time, and sometimes we have to stop playing and we have to do things. We're forced to do it, and that's why I'm actually appreciating a lot of games a lot more. This allows me to stop wherever I am to save, and so I can just leave. Not just to cheat the system, saying, oh, I want to try this out, so I'm going to save here. But that's why I'm enjoying the Switch a lot more, is that all I do is hit the home button and it saves exactly where I'm at, and the game is still running, but it's paused, like a hard pause.
Yeah, standby.
Standby. I fucking love standby. I know the PS4 has it, and I saw you do that. I'm like, that's the coolest thing. And then after I got the Switch and I started doing that, I'm like, it's my favorite fucking feature in any game, in any systems, to have a standby button. And you can just walk away. It doesn't eat up any of the batteries, anything like that. You just walk away, and it's such a good feature to have for grown-ups who still want to play games but have very limited time. And that's why I'm also not a fan of those styles of gameplay where you're just forced to just spend an extra 30 minutes or 20 minutes just to make a save point. It's like, well, I'm a grown-up. I have to make dinner, or I have to take care of my kids. I have to go to work or something like that.
Yeah. I mean, any age, anyone, you don't want to spend a majority of the time in preparation. You want to be in the action.
Yeah.
And when I've got once again, this is a faster game. You go into an area, you kill the enemies, and you're jumping around, like, doing platforming shit, too. You don't ever want to break and, like, hold this button to create a save point and then save. Like, it sucks to say, I really like the game, but this one feature is killing it for me, is that it just breaks the pace, and it doesn't feel like it fits in there at all. It's...
Right.
I could rant about this for a while, but it's really dumb.
And it's a single-player game, too. Like, for multiplayer games that are really long, that's fine, because if you sit down and play with other people, make sure you have time to play with those other people and not just leave in the middle of a game. That's more of just a League of Legends just tick I have, But it's like a single-player game should not have that feature. They should have the feature where you can stop anytime you want to and come back to. And there are some games that have it that if you die, even if you save beforehand, you can still only go back to the checkpoint, which makes sense and it's totally fine. And I feel like that's something they should have done instead. Instead of making a save point, they should maybe made a checkpoint instead. It's like, hey, make a checkpoint here or something like that.
Yeah, so to continue on with this, I just want to specify, because I should mention, it's not incredibly difficult to get the resources to save.
Oh, okay.
But what it does do is it forces you, like, that's to make a save spot is the same as using, like, mana, essentially. Like, it's your magic power.
And how do you get that in the game?
It's like there's a flower that you got to find, and then it gives one to you. There's the really frustrating thing about it is that I'm still generally in the early bit of the game. Actually, this is the one game that I lied. I haven't put 4 hours into it. I've put like 2 hours into this. I know, gasp. The other ones I have, though. So, I should say, first I learned how to save, which is like the first power you get. Then the second power you get is to, it's like a bomb. Like, you kind of blow up walls, but it uses the same resource.
Yeah, I remember you telling me this.
And I can only store one. So what sucks is I get a flower, and now I have to choose, do I want to blow up this wall and get the secret item behind it, or get the secret shit behind it, or do I want to save my game? So, like, even though this shit's given out like candy, why would you make a save point and then want to come back to that area versus getting everything in that area and then risking not doing the save?
It seems like a lot of time filler, honestly.
Yeah, it's purposefully... I don't know where I'm going to finish that sentence exactly, but more that it's making things purposefully difficult in the most unfair or non-fun way possible. So, yeah, Ori and the Blind Forest, it has so much potential. I really like the platforming and the shooting. It's cool that the shooting and the combat is automatic because it makes you focus more on the platforming. Like, that's a cool idea. It just sucks that I've played like the first hour of that game probably 2 times now because I'll just die really easily.
And so now you just have this fear is like, do I want to play this game and just have this time where I just waste a lot of progress because I just couldn't find a stupid flower to make a save point? Or, yeah, so I can see why you wouldn't want to pick it up again because of that alone. Because you just have this idea in your head, it's like, well, I could just be spending 2 hours and be wasted on nothing because I just couldn't find a stupid flower to save.
Yeah, it saves nothing in the game. Even if you died and you...
Given a lot of people do like that, but a lot of people also don't like that at the same time.
I don't mind it as long as it's fair.
Yeah.
You know, that's all it comes down to. And the manual saving and the way that you die in the game doesn't really feel fair. It feels like one of those like guess and check kind of games, like Dark Souls, where, you know, you come into an enemy and you know you're gonna die on first instance because no one ever beats an enemy on first try in Dark Souls. Like, there's a lot of guess and check work essentially in Ori and the Blind Forest. And it sucks that they decided to do manually saving with that because it blows dick.
Yeah. And I've tried to like those games. Like, I don't think that game's like a Dark Souls games, but I mean those high difficulty with very high risk of losing progress. I want to like those games, but I can't get invested into them. Yeah, they're just too much for me, sadly, and I'm usually not good enough to play them too. Like, I love Dark Souls. That game is fun. I love the idea because it reminds me of like a much darker story to like Zelda. It was because you explore so much into it. But the idea of just losing all that progress so easily, it's heartbreaking for me. Oops, sorry. Just on the table.
But going along with that, I think that Dark Souls and Bloodborne is generally fair in the game's world that it's set up.
Super challenging.
Yeah.
And it's like those save points are sparing, but you know that going in at least.
Yeah, the save points, you know where they are. When you find them, you know that this is a save point. You're not jeopardizing anything by saving. Versus Ori and the Blind Forest,
that is true. Actually,
you're taking magic away from you, and you can only store like one magic.
So you're saying that it's actually harder than Dark Souls?
No, God no. I'm saying it's more unfair than Dark Souls. Not more challenging, just more unfair.
Oh yeah, the hardest game out there. It's the new Dark Souls.
God, can we just relate every game to Dark Souls? Next game I played was Slime Rancher, and it's like Dark Souls. So next game I played was Slime Rancher, and
that looks like a super cute game.
So cute.
So cute. Shut up. It does.
So Slime Rancher, it's pretty much it's a collectathon. It's like, I never played Harvest Moon, but people say it's like Harvest Moon. It's like Stardew Valley.
I love Harvest Moon.
Yeah, so pretty much you're a farmer and you farm, and it's you get resources to get other resources. Like, that's all you fucking do.
Yeah. Instead, this one is you just collect slimes and you make the slimes and you just try to make as many slimes as you can to make money.
Yeah, instead of growing like veggies and whatever. I mean, you can do that too, but the thing that you're actually making money from is growing these slimes, which they play the same role as like growing wheat or growing corn or whatever. It's just a resource to sell and get more equipment to make more of that resource. The game in itself, I generally have a problem with these games because the motive of gaining resources is very self-serving to just get more resources. But I was looking for kind of like an easy to play game, kind of repetitive. Like, I mean, you could say Diablo 3 generally falls into that. You get better gear to get better gear, you know? Yeah.
Just something to relax to, maybe watch something on the side while you do it.
Yeah, like very, very repetitive. So I kind of am like a hypocrite when it comes to these games because they're good and they're some of my favorite games, but also depending on how redundant or how dumb the task is, it doesn't really feel like, you know, it either is worth your time or it's not. The task that you're doing is repetitive and tedious, but it has to be in some sense fun. Slime Rancher is like on that cusp of like, is it fun, is it not fun? And I really can't describe if it is or isn't.
I just think that I think exactly what you think it is. It's gather resource game, and a lot of people just like playing that. So it sounds like if you like gathering resources and stuff, that sounds like the game for them. Then obviously, it sounds like it's not your cup of tea, though.
Well, I can't describe if it is or not. I've put 6 hours into it, and
Did you have to force yourself to put the 6 hours into it? Do you feel like?
I think that I couldn't really think of another game I wanted to play at the time. I wasn't hating myself for playing it. All these games I played because I wanted to play them. I didn't play these games because I needed something to talk about in the podcast.
Right.
These are all games that I said, you know, I want to get around to these, and for some reason in the last 3 weeks, I have like totally had my eyes open of just like, I just want to play everything always.
Yeah.
Like, in comparison, all other weeks and shit, I'm always getting distracted. There's always shit going on.
Yeah.
The last 3 weeks have actually been productive in games and unproductive in every other manner.
No,
and I'm fine with
that. When I've been hopping on Steam, you've been playing so many different games. Like, damn, Ben's just going to town.
Yeah. So Slime Rancher seems like it's got a lot underneath the surface. There's a lot of exploration involved, and it seems like the world that you're in, there's more to explore there, and that's really cool. I like the idea that, you know, this world has a lot of secrets to unfold, and you can only get more of that when you upgrade your character or you get more slimes. Like, that's a cool reason to push yourself forward and forward and forward into this game. But what does kind of stink is that the slimes, they're like living slimes. They've got eyes and a mouth, and they kind of like, some can hurt you, and they like try to escape all the time and stuff. Like, it sucks because if you want to make a lot of money in this game, you can't just like Stardew Valley, you plant corn, you buy automatic like watering devices, and then you can pretty much go about your business and do other shit in the game. Like,
you don't have to worry about the corn running away from you.
yeah, and that's really frustrating because I've already got to go and stock up on supplies and manage, like, exploring this world, and, like, just that's the part I'm interested in, seeing what this world has to offer. Put on top of that, where I've got to, like, make sure that my slimes are properly corralled and all this other shit. Like, it's almost too much to manage at once on any given day that it, any given time span from dusk to dawn in that game. And it's really frustrating, I guess, because I can't ever figure out where to properly allocate my time.
Sounds like, is it 2 players or only 1?
It's only 1.
Okay, I was going to suggest you just hire someone just to mend your farms for very cheap cost. That way you can just enjoy the life of exploring.
Hire some Mexicans.
To tend your crops. Sorry, your slimes.
Yeah, I think it's just 1 player. Yeah, it looks like they're still working on maybe a co-op in Slime Rancher, but it's fine. I don't think it's better than Stardew Valley, and I'm trying to think of other games that are like it. I never played Farmville or anything, but I think the idea of the slimes doesn't really work out too well. No. It gives you this cool landscape to explore, and then it just forces you to stay at your farm constantly, because I'll come back and, like, one slime has gotten out and he's eating all the chickens, and I'm like, no more chickens!
It kind of reminds me when we used to play 7 Days to Die, because, like, you usually go out to explore and not just be in the mine, just mining all the resources for days in and days out.
Yeah.
I just remember, too, it just says, like, just make sure there's food on top of that chest for me so I can keep on mining.
But that's the thing, is, like, think of all that we did in 7 Days to Die, and then think if the materials tried to run away at any given moment.
It's like, no, my goal.
Yeah, pretty much. So it's almost too much, honestly.
Yeah.
There's just too much to do, and
I love this slime eats your chickens.
Yeah, the shit that I want to end up doing, I can't end up doing, and I've bought a bunch of the upgrades that I need and everything. I don't want to hear comments about, like, oh, you're not playing it right. I mean,
it feels like it's like, yeah, the game makes you feel like you have responsibilities, and, like, I'm playing a game to relax, not to feel like I have responsibilities and stuff.
I don't mind a more, like, critical game that kind of, like, puts me on edge. I mean, fuck, that's why I play PUBG and competitive games every once in a while. But no, it's definitely, it is like this really I don't really like the mash of it, honestly. I think that it's fine in terms of a collectathon, or, whatever you call those games, but I really don't think that it's the strongest one of them. I'd give it like a 5 out of 10, which, pretty average. Once again, I can't say if I really liked it or not playing that time. It was just filler until I found another game I wanted to play. If you're looking for a game similar like that, I would 100% pick up Stardew Valley, though. I think it supersedes that game in almost any fashion. And next, I haven't played this too much this time, but this is like the 4th time I've played this game, is Donkey Kong Country 3.
Oh, wow. What's that one? Where do you have that one on?
Super Nintendo.
Oh.
Yep. In the last 3 weeks, I fixed up I got a new disc reader for my PS2, and I got a new AC adapter for my Super Nintendo, and I was playing some of those games. I got really nothing to say about Donkey Kong Country.
It's Donkey Kong.
What's up?
It's just like the other Donkey Kong games?
Yeah, so Donkey Kong Country 3, it's the same old, but I think it's a lot harder. And that's the reason
why all the Donkey Kong games being super hard.
Well, it's funny because this game is one of the most unfair. One of the characters is super flexible to move around with. It's Dixie Kong, and she can spin her hair and, like, make big jumps. And the other guy is just big and awkward to move. And
yeah, DK.
No. It's I can't remember his name, but he's like a baby gorilla.
Oh, okay.
Or not a gorilla, but he's a baby Kong.
Oh, okay.
And
Diddy Kong?
No.
Oh, okay.
He hasn't been in any of the other games or anything since. But so he's just like a baby Kong, and he's just like this big fat plump baby. And he's just really obtuse and difficult to deal with. But I think, like, he kind of ruins and also makes the game, because he sucks so hard that it makes the game really difficult. But then also, because it's the 3rd iteration, it's like any other game. It's like, how can we make this game harder, more difficult, whatever? Like, not only do you get the hardest fucking character to maneuver ever in any of the previous Donkey Kong Country games, but it's also like, they expect you to have played 1 and 2, and they're like,
Yeah.
okay, we need to up the challenge.
Oh god, they're already so hard as it was.
It's fucking hard, and that's why
Fucking wasps. I hated them.
and that's why I love this game, and that's why it's like Dark Souls. Everything is like Dark Souls.
too.
Yeah. So I don't need to talk too much about that. I haven't put too much time into this play, but I mean, in terms of the span of in the last 27 years that I've been alive and played it, I mean, yeah, I've played it countless times. I've never perfected it though, so that's what I'm gonna slowly try to do during this playthrough. Next is Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy.
Yeah.
I just whipped that out in like 4 days. I fucking killed that game.
So you beat every single one?
Yeah.
Oh, dude, really?
Yeah.
Nice.
I didn't do a perfection round on that. There's just a bunch of BS in that game that I think...
Yeah. Like, a lot of the ones you have to go ahead in a few maps to get a diamond, and then you have to go all the way back to those levels and to get the completions of them and all that stuff.
Yeah, so...
A lot of back and forths.
Exactly. Is that a lot of the completion stuff is just a lot of, like, how can we take this map and force you to do every single thing you possibly can.
Yeah.
Like, there's just a whole lot of back and forth. There's a whole lot of repetition in it. And I thought that I would end up hating the game if I did that. So I just played through, the normal, beat all the levels, get the crystals, and enjoy it rather than, like, play it too much and
to the completion
let me hate it.
Yeah.
And that was good. And then, so 2 more games that I've played solo. One is Stuntman for PS2.
You restarted Stuntman.
I didn't restart it. I just finished it.
Oh.
I've actually, even though it's my favorite it's one of my favorite driving games, I've never actually beaten it. And we only had 5 levels left. And
so you're saying it's like Dark Souls?
It is the
driving.
Out of any game on this list, that is the most like Dark Souls than any other game on this list.
It's a fucking driving game.
If you've ever played Stuntman, you know that this game is unfair as all hell. But yeah, so I had 5 levels left to do, and I beat them. It took like 3 days to beat just those 5 levels. It was so fucking dumb, but I did it, and I was very much ready to put that game down when I finished that. But yeah, so now I can say I beat Stuntman.
Congratulations.
I'm sure there's like I feel like that's maybe a club of under 1,000 people in the world that can properly say I've beat Stuntman.
I remember when we used to live together, I watched you try to play that game and actually beat it. I was like, fuck that noise.
It's so impossible. No. So then the last game that I've been playing solo, which is a game that I'm currently playing, and I'm 10 hours in, is Final Fantasy IX.
One of my favorite ones out there.
Yeah. So my favorite Final Fantasy is Final Fantasy VIII. And I haven't even beaten that one 100%.
Yeah, I haven't beat Final Fantasy IX 100% because I was rocking through it, destroying it, then I had to put it down for like 3 days. And then when it came back, I was in the open world version of it, when you have to, like, you're in the ship, and I was like, where the fuck am I going?
What am I doing?
I just went around forever for a solid hour, and then just like, I can't play. I don't know where I'm going. I'm lost. I go to towns, like, the store, that tell me what to do. I don't know where I'm going. So I was like, I had to put it down. I was heartbroken. I was like, no, because I was super enjoying it.
Yeah. I mean, the game is assumed 40 hours average or something for playtime. So, I've only played Final Fantasy VIII and Final Fantasy X to, like, long amounts. I've played a little bit of 7, a little bit of all the other ones, 11 and whatnot. I 100% beat Final Fantasy X. I got, Ultimate Weapon. I beat all the side summons and everything. I got them, Yojimbo and whatever the other ones are. Final Fantasy VIII, I just really like the style of it, and I like the characters. I know that a lot of people don't, but that one, I like that one more than 10 just because of those reasons, and I haven't even beaten 8. So I think I'm going to try to play Final Fantasy 7, 8, and 9 in this next year at some point.
Yeah, I played a lot of Final Fantasy 8. I think I actually beat that one. I don't fully remember it, though, because I wasn't a complete fan of it. But yeah, because the storyline got derailed so fast in that one to something else where I got confused and like, why am I here? Yeah,
that's the biggest complaint is no one ever really followed or understood, like, the story didn't make any sense.
Yeah, that's why I was never really a full fan of it. I did like the characters and all that, but the main story just got derailed so hard, and it confused me so much. But I was much younger too, so my attention span wasn't that good. I'm not gonna lie about that. So I might give it a re-go, but I don't know. Yeah, it's still that thought of it, just like of the story not being good. It's kind of stopped me from playing it again.
Yeah, and for a game that's 40 hours, it's really hard to invest that amount of time knowing this story sucks. Like, you have to know that the gameplay is good, and the gameplay in most of them is really good.
Well, yeah, it's a classic RPG turn-based game, and they do it well. But also, it made these Final Fantasy games like what made you keep on going was the story and the cutscenes. Those were like with the solid little cookies to keep you going.
Right.
And the Final Fantasy VIII for me, and for other people, I'm guessing too, it sounds like it just wasn't good enough to keep it going for those 40 hours.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. So I'm following a guide religiously on Final Fantasy IX.
Good choice, honestly, in the end.
I know a lot of people do have issues with that, where, you know, oh, you should explore, you should talk to everyone and figure it out for yourself.
It's 40 fucking hours. It's like, no.
Yeah, so one, that's a big thing, is that it's 40 hours. Two, is that if I'm going to invest that much time into anything, not that I want that to go any longer than it needs to, that's hardly the case. The bigger reason is that I want to make sure that I get everything that I can the first time.
Because in 7, you can miss getting some characters if you don't do things certain ways, actually.
Yeah, I mean, that's how 9 is, too. I've only played 10 hours. I've only played 10 hours. I'm on the second... 10. I just got onto the second disc, and there's a character called Kina or something that I could have missed if I didn't go to this forest and, like, catch a frog or something. Like, some really...
Kina, is that the dragon woman?
She's got the tongue, or he's got the tongue hanging out of his front. He's this big old...
Oh, that guy, the cook.
Fucking pile of shit.
Yeah, the cook. I missed him during my playthrough, actually.
Yeah. So, I guess it's really... There's a lot of stuff that I can miss. For example, I got this sword called the Blood Sword, and the Blood Sword heals me when I hit someone. And Steiner, the soldier, uses that. And that's, like, the most important fucking item for where I'm at right now. It's like, stupidly important. And the way I could have only gotten that was, like, if I checked behind a building and hit X, you know, hit circle on this random spot, and then, oh, I found a medallion. And then you trade that medallion to some woman who's a collector, and she gives you the sword. Like...
Yeah, it's like, how the fuck are you supposed to know that?
Yeah, and so, although I don't mind not using a guide... There's just so much crap in these Final Fantasy games, these old JRPGs, that I'm afraid to not use one. So
it's kind of amazing for how old they are and like how much shit they have in them.
You know what's crazier? I was looking at this today because I was curious. I was like, okay, how long does it take to make these games? So I looked Final Fantasy 7, Final Fantasy 8, Final Fantasy 9, and Final Fantasy 10, the year differences between them.
Yeah.
Final Fantasy 7 to 8. There's 2 years between it. Final Fantasy 8 to 9, there's 1 year between it. And Final Fantasy 9 to 10 is also 1 year.
Oh, wow.
Think of how huge those games are. And they had that's like a Call of Duty turnaround. That's a 40-hour game.
Fuck, that's actually very impressive. Especially with the story, the characters, the animations.
It must have been different studios.
And all the hidden stuff, the side stories, the little eggs that they have in the Easter eggs and all that stuff too as well. Yeah, they must have like multiple people specifically for certain things that they kept. It's like, you know what you're doing, do the exact same thing next time, and then so on and so on.
Yeah, that's crazy. And like Final Fantasy VII was the first 3D Final Fantasy, like big JRPG to come out from what I can tell. And that's why it was so blocky and also such a huge success. Like, going from that to Final Fantasy VIII to Final Fantasy IX and seeing what huge changes were made in 3D modeling, but the fact that they were also able to make a fucking, like, not only that it's 40 hours, but also that was, like, new technology then.
And completely different stories. Like, when we see games come out yearly, it's usually the same characters, same storyline in some certain way, you know, and the same features. But each game was so different from the last. They had different upgrading skills. They had different, like, characters they had different special abilities, each one in their own unique way.
Yeah, I mean, think of all the animations that all the monsters have to do. Think of all the settings that, if you're fighting in desert, a desert land loads up in the combat. Forest, same thing.
The maps, the levels, the ships you fly in or cars you drive in.
Yeah, even though the mechanics are generally the same of pick attack, pick magic, pick item, and then your moving is, the D-pad, up, down, left, right, whatever. Like, those general assets you can keep, but think of, how long it would take to make those cutscenes back in the day.
Yeah, fuck. And those were the things that always kept me going in the games, were those cutscenes.
Yeah.
That's like this something when I played as a kid, I was like, I need to see these cool ass cutscenes, And there was always that was always the reward that I was always aiming for to keep me going playing them.
Yeah, and so I thought that was incredible. But so I've been playing Final Fantasy IX, and I'm like 10 hours into it, and I'm loving that. In comparison to what was the game that I was playing that I stopped? I can't remember which one it was. Fuck. There was another game I was going to relate it to, but I can't remember now. Alright, whatever.
Yeah.
We'll just skip that shit. Final Fantasy IX has been really good so far, though. So, those are the games that I've played solo. The only other 2 games that I have on here, or I've got 3 games, but they're multiplayer. Mike, PUBG.
PUBG, we fucking rocked it the last few times we played it. The one time that we came in second place, we died to a cheater, sadly, which really heartbroke me. But you and 2 other people, though, what'd you do, Ben?
Yeah, we won. We fucking got that chicken dinner, boy.
I just get random text messages from him and, everyone else that wanted saying, just show me the tag, chicken dinner. I was like, motherfuckers did it.
Oh, my God.
Was it an easy one or a hard one? You guys got a lot of kills. I saw that. You both showed me your kills. You guys killed a lot.
We played Sneaky Snake for a while, but when we needed to kill a team, it was like fucking SEAL Team 6. We just all popped out at once, killed an entire team, and then back to Sneaky Snake. like it wasn't like we were going in guns blazing. We typically only shot when we had to, and whenever we did, it was like, okay, I'm locking on this guy, he's standing up, and then we all just choo-choo-choo, and then, dead. And the next guy stands up, tries to revive his already dead friend, and then we just kill him or something, It was good, though. It got real fucking close. I sacrificed myself in the end. It was a 3v1, and we couldn't find out where the last guy was, and not that it was an intentional sacrifice. I went around a corner with a shotgun, ready to blow his face off, but he was crouched, and kind of he came around crouched and killed me, and then
he heard you coming.
I was able to spot him. Well, he was behind some barrels. We were out in shooting range, so it was way open.
Oh yeah.
And I knew he was behind these barrels, but I went around the corner of these I circled around the barrels, and he was crouched, and he just got a couple shots off on me.
So wait, you were at the last minute of the game, and you still had a shotgun?
Yeah, I loved shotgun.
Oh really?
I had the SK-12, whatever, the automatic.
I love the M4, the one with the burst fire. Actually, with it on single fire, that thing's accurate long distance.
Yeah.
Last time we played, I got 3 kills long range on that thing, distantly long too, just with the iron scope.
Yeah.
That thing had great no kickback. But man, we had some great gunfights the last time we played all together, though. Some really good ones, actually. I was very surprised.
Yeah, we've been having a lot of fun with PUBG lately. So
I've been noticing less cheaters too. Sadly for that when we just got that one fucking one. But besides that,
I think everyone's moved on to Fortnite at this point.
Yeah. But I don't know. I think I'm still gonna. I don't think I might go to Fortnite because I like PUBG. I don't really care much for the building aspect of it.
I think
gathering resources and stuff.
Fortnite's really fast for me too. I like the slower pace of PUBG.
And it's just fun to do stupid stuff in PUBG because there's the realism, the half realism just adds just makes things a lot more funnier in it too when things go wrong.
Yeah, I think Fortnite's way too goofy. PUBG it floats on the right amount of realism, I think. I think item drops are fair. When you find a gun, it feels really great. Of I found the the Mini 14 versus another M16 or something, or I found a 15X or something.
Yeah.
That shit, when you have, or like a ghillie suit, like when you have that shit, you know, like,
Dude,
oh fuck yeah.
Every single time we find good shit, we do terrible. Every single time we only run like with the worst equipment ever, we just destroy it. We always always top 10 then.
Yeah, because we're always way too fucking cocky when we've got good items. And
Yeah,
we
start hunting people down. It's like, no, we need to stop doing that.
We gotta go snake.
We have like all sniper rifles. We decided to chase people down. It's like, yeah, this is a bad idea.
Yep.
I just remember one time it's like, I should stay up here to watch you guys. Like, no, we should stick together. It was the first one down in the middle of a close range combat. Like, should have stayed in that building. that's as soon as I got down, I was like, I knew I should have stayed back.
Yep.
It was fun. It was still funny that because it's just funny because like we were just running with like no vehicle, shitty weapons, no scopes. No, and just like all iron sights, like we're just not gonna make it far at all. We make it like we kill like everyone, and we're just still like the top 10 or like 5th place even, which is awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Which I do think is pretty cool because we don't usually hide a lot when we're in the top 10. We actually do have like good firefights between other teams. That last time when we got killed by the hacker though, one of our guys is like down like 10 people. I was like, damn, he was rocking it with his rifle. I was kind of blown away with that. All I had that was a Thompson and M4 with no sights.
Yeah, I really I don't know. Everything about PUBG,
this is a perfect amount of balance of everything.
Yeah, I'm totally biased. I'm not gonna pretend I'm not, but I totally think that PUBG needs to be up higher than Fortnite. But I mean, I know a lot of people are gonna disagree with me.
I mean, Fortnite's free to play, so people are always going to hop over to that one more.
Yeah, that's definitely a big thing. I know that Fortnite's made a bunch of changes, so I'm not willing to say it's a bad game. I just think that in terms of battle arenas, my favorite still is PUBG.
Likewise.
Moving on. This game, we were just talking about this game.
Oh wait, what about Vermintide 2?
Yeah. So that's what I was going to get at.
Oh, okay, I thought you meant moving subject. I was like, yeah.
Oh, no. So Vermintide 2 came out, like, last week. We were in the beta, I think, last week. We never really got around to talking about how the game's been going.
So, when the new version kicked out, it just ran shit on my computer. It crashed like 20 times for me. And what was the worst part, though, is that when it crashed, it made out like the most loudest screeching sound ever. Like someone was dying. And then it would finally just completely crash. And it would do that non-stop when the final version came out. And the beta ran great for me, except for some like small little lag issues. The beta ran great, but when the full version came out, it just would not run at all. And it took them about a week to get the patch out.
No, it didn't. It took them a day.
No, it wasn't a day. It was a week. It was a fucking week, because we didn't play it when it fully came out yet, dude. We didn't immediately start playing it, and when I started playing it, that was a week ago. And that's when it was crashing. And then, so yeah, it was a little bit more than a week. And then that's when they finally pushed out the patch and all that stuff. Because I know we did not immediately play it when the full version came out. At least I didn't.
Alright.
And then they finally patched it, and so it does run. But I think I definitely need to lower the graphics way more for it to run good on my computer. I mean, well on my computer. Grammar. Just because that some of the levels are just so heavily graphic needed. Just because of like the plains level when we start by the tall grass. Just look at the trees are moving, the grass is moving, everything's moving, and with the multiple enemies coming too, with their separate AIs, it destroys my computer. It lags so much when a horde comes. At least for me, I mean, you have a heavily built PC, so you can easily run it.
My monster.
Yeah, your monster runs with no issue. My gaming laptop, not so much. So I need to test out the graphic settings and lower things even more, and give it a try again.
Yeah, let's get a little more in depth with Vermintide 2.
No, yeah, that's just the beginning of it. But they did fix it, though, eventually, which was awesome. It took them a while, but they finally did it. So it does run. And it is a lot of fun, though.
Yeah.
Which is sad that I need to lower the graphics, because it's a very beautiful game, actually.
Yeah, well, I was going to say, like, the previous games that I mentioned, I know that I kind of brushed over them in general, but in terms of, like, the mechanics of Vermintide 2, if you're getting this game, let me go ahead and tell you, if you pick the dwarf, you gotta go with the Ironbreaker class.
Oh,
and
yeah.
You gotta get the fucking flamethrower Drake cannon, because it is so dumb. It awesome.
Demolishes everything. And if you're playing this game, try not to go with the Ranger. The Ranger's kind of... Especially, like, the Ranger's a good support class, but it takes a while for her to the level up to be actually a good support class, to get that perk to get everyone to heal themselves. Because at first, though, She doesn't have that much to offer to the group, to be honest.
You can, feel free to switch it up if you want. I know
think
Marcus
I might.
Kruber. A lot of people play Marcus Kruber. He's really good. But the Witch Hunter, not a lot of people play as. And, I've heard that he's really good, too. He can put down the hate on single targets pretty well. But, also he's the guy that gets the fucking, what's it called? A Morning Glory or something?
It's a flail,
the mace.
Mace, yeah.
But, he gets the mace on his third tier.
I saw that, and that looks badass.
Yeah, feel free to switch it up if you want, bud.
Because I do want to get the Assassin's third class. The Ranger's third class, because then it becomes an Assassin class, where she gets triple damage behind enemies. If you attack them from behind, she does triple damage.
Okay, so that's probably good against bosses, then.
Yeah, and then her ability is allowed to go through enemies for periods of times and still attack. So I'm like, I really want to get her up to that and test that out. And I also want to see her because her first class has a support ability where everyone heals around her. Like, everyone just has healing abilities then, too.
Mm-hmm.
They regenerate health, which is super useful. So I don't mind being support. It just takes a while for her to be to actually get those support things, sadly. So I just need to crash through it. And so I just need to I'm going to try all the settings on low next time we play and see how that goes.
Yeah. No, Vermintide has been awesome, though.
Yeah. The level designs are cool. The enemies are awesome. But sometimes the game is a little unfair when they throw what it throws at you, though. Not going to lie.
Yeah, but I think that's just... I think that it's unfair, but it's also fair. Because you have to... You know that stuff is a threat. It's not like jumping down a hole and dying versus surviving. It's that you know you should always be prepared for a boss to show up at any time.
All right, so there's one time I played with one of our buddies, and so we played the when you free all the people, you know.
Okay, yeah.
So right when we go into that tall grass area in the beginning, we ran into 4 giant night dudes. Those not the berserkers, but the
storm vermin.
4 of them. And then after we ran to the 4 in the grass, we ran to 1 more, and then a mutant tank rat. I shit you not, right in the beginning.
Storm vermin, I annihilate storm vermin as... You gotta have a sharp edge. You gotta have a sharp edge.
We're talking about the huge knight guys with all the armor where you had to...
Oh, that's a Chaos Warrior.
The Chaos Warriors. We ran to 4 Chaos Warriors, and then in the tall grass... Then 1 more after you hop the wall, and then while we're fighting him, a freaking tank rat shows up and just kills us instantly. And this was on Recruit. We just got wrecked.
When was this? Because they did say that
was when we played Jetbox together.
Yeah.
With the last time we played Jetbox together.
They patched it where there's not so much of a. I can't remember what they called it. Maybe it was difficulty curve. Oh, it was a spike. So difficulty spikes. They already did a patch, so that's not that tough. This was March 3rd.
No, this was just 2 days ago when this happened.
Oh,
when we played the 4th one the last time with the small group, when it was just 4 of us playing it. Yeah, I was playing it with him before I went over, and we just got destroyed instantly. Because that's what we ran into, so it's obviously needs to be some fixes to it. Like they'll probably, but that doesn't always happen. Usually it's pretty fair, but there's some times when you just get fucked over.
All right.
And that was one of the times.
I misspoke there. I'm reading the article now. So I don't think it's out yet, but yeah, dev looking to remove difficulty spikes. This article was released on the 15th.
Because we just started the level, and I was just screaming the whole time. I was like, "What did we do to deserve this? We didn't even start yet. I don't even know you." It's all I was screaming nonstop because it was such bullshit. It's just like after we got to like the 4th Chaos Knight, I was like, "Okay, cool, we're done." Bam! Another Chaos Knight, just in a small area where we couldn't escape from it. And all of a sudden, a tank rat shows up. I was like, what?
God damn.
I was just like, as I was throwing me around, just yelling at my friends, like, what did we do? We just started this level. It was so funny.
Oh,
like, I wasn't even mad. It was just, like, so ridiculous. It was funny. Especially because the other two people we were playing with, they were half our level, too. No, they were both level 1s. And we were just right into that to begin with. And I was a level 9, and he was a level 10 at the time. Sorry, I was 8, and he was 10. And it was like, okay, like, why are you doing this? What was the mechanic that we did that made you thought, like, yeah, these guys, nah.
You entered in the secret difficult curve code.
It was just so funny, just because it was right in the beginning. I was like, oh shit, there's a Chaos Knight. No, that's a little weird. There's another one. And another one. One more. Like, alright, the hard part's over. Nope, there's no one. And there's a tank rat. Cool. Okay, sure. I'm done. Because we were all died instantly then.
Yeah.
We couldn't do anything. It's like the Chaos Knight and with the tank rat at the same time, they demolish you.
Oh, man. Yeah, I think Vermintide is awesome.
Yeah.
I also wanted to mention, I feel like I'm going to jinx it almost by saying this, but even though the game is selling very well, I don't think it's not like League of Legends or like PUBG popular enough where every time I get with a group, they're not toxic or anything. Everyone has always helped each other out.
Yeah, especially the last time we played, that one guy was awesome.
Yeah.
I'm surprised that he knew where everything was and only was at level 8, though. He must have had looked up a guy, though, I guess.
I mean, this is the second one in in the series. I'm sure that he's played the first one religiously and like watched all the shit to play this one.
I thought it was very fun. Oh, he's level 8. He probably is just like us. Like, nope, he knew where exactly where every tome was, where every like special book was.
Yeah, Grimoire or whatever.
was. And I was like, fuck, all right, just follow this guy.
Fucking
the lowest level on our team knows everything. He was like, which I thought was funny. I wasn't mad. I just thought it was great. He was also very nice too. Because he was also just like, yeah, just follow me. Like, I would, like, before I grab it, want to take a look at this stuff. I'm like, oh, yeah, cool. He was very cool to play with.
It was good. Yeah, I'd be down to play that today.
Yeah, same. Because I would like to see if I'm going to just lure all the graphics. I really like this game. It's so much fun.
Yeah. The last game that I want to talk about, and Mike, if you have anything else after this, feel free to take it over from there. This is just going to be a 2-second segment, but Rainbow Six Siege had Outbreak mode. That came out. It's the zombies-ish kind of mode. And honestly, I'm just going to say it's subpar. I don't really want to get too much into it.
Oh, you played it?
Yeah, I played it with my roommate. But, so it's not the best. It's definitely more of like a gimmick than it is something like Nazi Zombies that trumps the original game. It's good enough to be something better than the original game. This is definitely like tacked on, something basic.
Doesn't hurt to have it though, honestly.
Well, what I did notice though is that it gives you a whole fuck ton of experience. So
oh really?
Even if you don't play it a bunch, it's good to grind it to get different character classes.
Oh okay.
Yep. But, I mean, I think that's only out for a month, and this is getting near to, like, the end of March here, so you might not even... It's only going to be out for, like, another week by the time you hear this or something. Like, I'm not gonna talk a ton about it because, if someone listens to this 2 weeks later, it's probably going to be gone by then.
No, yeah, but I thought it was really cool that they added those still. It's a nice little thing.
Yeah.
I hope they had fun making it because I thought it was pretty cool.
Yeah, and I'm sure we'll see a resurgence of it. I mean, it's enough time that they spent in it
or
to
they do, like, something else instead of they're not technically zombies, would you say? Or would you call them zombies?
Yeah, they're like mutants.
Yeah, mutants. It would be cool if they did something else next time, like a whole different other thing and all that stuff.
Yeah, it'd be cool.
Interesting to see.
All right, so let's get to top 5 for this week.
Whoop whoop. Don't know why I did that.
No, we only need one per episode. You even said that.
I'm sorry, I don't know why.
All right.
After I said I shouldn't have done that.
This top 5, I feel like this is just gonna be a shit show. Honestly, we're doing top 5 worst movie adaptions, and I mean, if you've ever seen any movie adaptation from a game, I guess is the right way to put it. You know that they're all generally pretty fucking bad.
Yeah, and so it's like so what I did first was because when I was looking at the list, I'm like, I've never seen many games and movies. So I actually just what are the ones I watched? All the ones I watched, I kind of actually liked. So I just first made them from what I liked the most of the bomb, and I obviously just flipped it then. All right, so this is my list then. Because actually, when I got my list, I'm like, shit, maybe I only seen 5 movies. But they made a lot coming out, though. I never seen The Hitman or The Assassin's Creed. Have you seen those movies?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, I've heard they're bad, though, already. I was like, I should have watched... I should have watched those before this podcast. Because I heard they were just awful.
I wasn't going to go out of my way to get them, honestly.
Yeah, because I never fully played Hitman. I played a little bit of the first one, and it was fun. And the only Assassin's Creed I played the first Assassin's Creed a little bit, but I played Black Flag a lot. But the only thing I played of Assassin's Creed Black Flag was being a pirate and the ship. So
yeah,
I wouldn't be able to fully tell if that story was correct or not.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think anyone's going to be judging the continuity of the movie from the game series like that. Especially
Let's
Assassin's
see.
Creed, because that story's everywhere.
So last week we did driving. This week, and I believe
Whatever.
you started it last time. So
Sure.
I'll start this time. As usual, we first give our bottom 3, and then we trade. Then we do our second. We trade. Then we do our first. And so,
What's your number 5, Mike?
number 5 is Mortal Kombat.
Fuck you.
Well, no, for number 5 for being it's like I said, I've only seen so many, and so Mortal Kombat's on the bottom because it's so ridiculously bad that it's good. And it actually sticks to the story, too, of the game, which is people just fighting each other.
Shame.
Because you're just watching the movie, and next you know they're just in this area, and they're just fighting, which is funny to watch.
Mike, that movie's up there with Shawshank Redemption. Don't you ever quit.
Motherfucker, do not compare Shawshank Redemption to Mortal Kombat.
Liu Kang could kick Andy, whatever his name is, ass.
The one thing I would never expect you to put next to is Shawshank Redemption. Motherfucker, don't do that.
Masterpiece, Mike.
But the thing is why it's on the list though, because like the whole settings, like when you're fighting it, are pretty low quality. The acting's not too good, and
Do you remember what Goro looked like when he showed up?
yeah, Goro.
Guy's like half fucking claymation, half like just plastic bulbs
Yeah.
all over him. They're like, yeah, this looks good.
I was like, what the fuck?
The guy with
Oh.
4 arms, yeah, holy shit.
Didn't they give him balls too?
I don't remember.
I think he gets
I think
punched in the balls.
I think he gets nut hit, yeah.
Yeah, and you actually see him too.
Yep. I don't know if they're showing this dude's nuts on the screen,
I think
but
they did. I think I remember seeing Goron's nuts, but I'm not 100% sure.
I would check, but I'm not going to Google search
Maybe that's
Goro's
a pro
nuts
now.
on Google.
I don't want that. It's like if someone's watching, we don't want that on my list.
Well, Ben's search history is really fucked up.
My number 4 is Warcraft. It was pretty good, but the CGI was over the top with it, and it's kind of just has a half story in it in the end, and just ends, and they're not going to be even making another Warcraft movie, so it's just like, all right, so you don't really have a full movie here at all, or a full story
Yeah.
to top it off.
I mean, Warcraft is, what, like 7 games or something now? There's World of Warcraft, Warcraft 1 through 3. I think there's 1 or 2 spin-offs or
Yeah.
something. But
And that's the problem with it, and that's what's on here, is like, you don't even have a full fucking story here, and you're just not even going to continue it, so it's like, what is it then?
well, I think that they had a full story, but they like the intro of it, they tried to do like 5 minutes of exposition at the beginning, and it was just like, no one's gonna remember any of this. And they're like, Lord Daruman of the Hopi tribe from Kalamase used his universal teleporter to teleport all the dwarven Sumases.
The orcs to the human / elf / dwarf / other realm.
Yeah, and then there's like tan orcs and green orcs, and I'm like, do I need a fucking pen and paper for this shit? I mean,
I just love it that the regular world has like multiple races, but the orcs were never part of it for some reason. It's just like, yeah, they're from a different dimension. Like, what?
yeah.
And it's like, what planet are you from? We're not from this planet. I'm like, why though? It's like every single other mystical creature is there but the orcs. I'm like, okay, sure, I'll believe this. You even have centaurs there too, and yet you don't have orcs in it. They had to come from another dimension.
Yeah.
Didn't make much sense.
It was weird. They had like fucking Garumon try to save the world from Digimon, and
Yeah.
the story was complex as shit. Pretty much, unless you were already a fan of Warcraft, you were sitting through it, and they gave 5 minutes of exposition. You're like, got it. Orcs versus humans.
Yeah.
that's all it came down to.
Yet there was also elves that live there and dwarves, but you only see them for a fraction of a second. And it's like, isn't like the orcs are taking over the world? Should they be fighting too as well? It's like, nah, they're good.
Yeah, look, we've got Tauren and elves. There they are. Okay, don't look at them anymore. Now
Yeah,
it's
they're
more
gone.
humans.
The only time you see a dwarf is when he gives them a pistol, and so you see them use the pistols, but you never see the dwarves ever again. Like the dwarves fight too, and it's like the orcs are killing the planet, so you think that the other races would be in the fight too. So it made no sense. It's like, what's going on here?
Is there any trolls or blood elves or anything in it? Yeah, they're that speck in the background. You
Yeah,
see that
see that
huge
guy?
army? That guy's a blood troll or orc or whatever.
Yeah, they were in it. Yeah, just you can't see them, but they're there. You know, the humans are the friend.
Don't worry about it. Thanks for the money.
That's why I didn't get either, is that whole situation. It's like, yeah, these other racers are sharing the planet, and it's obviously the orcs are slowly killing it off, and yet they're not doing anything at all to help one bit. And it's like, okay. They don't even say why they're not helping either.
They're too cool for school.
I guess so. Then my number 3 is just Lara Croft. I mean, it's Lara Croft. The acting was subpar. Design was alright.
The Angelina Jolie Tomb Raider one? Okay.
Yeah. And then it just couldn't get into it in the end. But yeah, those are my bottom 3. Mortal Kombat, Warcraft, and Lara Croft.
Alright. Number 5 was the Pokemon movie. The original one.
Dude, motherfucker. Shawshank Redemption and Pokemon movie are right there.
No, it sucked balls. Dude, it wasn't even the Pokemon movie that was that bad. It was that it was an hour-and-a-half movie, and they spent the first 40 minutes of it showing some goddamn, like, Pikachu adventure in the camp where he's like...
Wait, he's in a camp?
Yeah, they took him to, like, the training center or something. It's I don't remember what it's called. I can't find it right now on Google, but like it's a mini, the same way that Pixar does mini like movies before the full feature. They did this whole thing where Pikachu is like in this camp hanging out with other Pokemon, and then they're like all of the fucking dialogue is like Pika Pika, Onyx, Pika Pika, Onyx, and then, you know, fucking Doug Trio is like Trio, and they've got to
remember the mention that well.
They've got to say like they're taking care of Togepi.
Oh, now I'm actually remembering that. Yeah, that was a lot of bullshit.
Yeah, and that was like half of that movie.
Best part of the movie, because you don't have to hear Ash talk.
Whoa, Ash is the best.
No, he isn't. He never becomes like a master. He loses.
It's the hero's journey. It's the loser's journey.
He's like, Pokemon reach the final level that they are supposed to lead, like a final evolution, and then he just lets them go. I'm like, no, you keep them so you can actually fight stronger Pokemon.
I didn't say he was a smart man. I said I love Ash.
I hated him so much for that. It's like, oh, you're at your final stage. You must go now and be free. I'm like, why? You need that Pokemon to win the final challenge, you know, when you race like everyone else.
Don't worry about it.
It's like, you know why he lost? Because no one else let their fucking Pokemon go when they got the strongest.
You know why he lost? Is because he let his Butterfree go, the only thing that did anything.
I was just like, what the fuck? He let Charizard go, he let fucking everyone go, and after, like, it's like every time they got the final stage, like, you're free now. It's like, no, Ash, you're not getting how this works to be a Pokemon master. You not only have to catch them all, but you still need to win that final challenge, that final championship thing.
Yeah.
And I was just like, he goes like, how did I lose? I don't know, maybe you should stop letting your Pokemon go. That would help. Because
you have less Pokemon than you started with 3 years ago.
Yeah. Maybe that's fine. Maybe if you evolve Pikachu. Pikachu's great and all that, but if you race him against a giant fucking Onix, a real one, not freaking Brock's one.
Ash likes Pikachu because he's agile and because he's cute, and Pikachu helps lay down the pussy when he's at the bar.
Plus, Pikachu only beats Brock's Onix so they cheat by making it rain by destroying their arena.
You beat my Onix as much as my emergency water system did.
Yeah, exactly.
You beat my Onix as much as regulation did.
It's so stupid. That's why I hated Ash with a passion. Brock and Misty were smart. Misty just wanted to fucking travel or become a better person before she became a gym leader. You know, that stuff. I was like, okay, that makes sense. Just follow around Ash, you know, maybe try to bone him, I guess. But yeah, Brock, you know, just wanted to fuck the world. You know, him being Brock.
Brock loved animals and women. He was a lover.
Brock was my favorite character. He was the one that made the most sense to me.
Brock was pretty dope. No, so getting back to the movie.
Sidetrack then.
The Togepi thing took up like half of the full-length feature, which was dog shit. And then the other half of it was Mew versus Mewtwo on that island. And like I'm not expecting any sort of like a huge, incredibly intricate story, but it would be great if it was like good versus evil. We shouldn't fight because fighting is bad. And, like, they're pocket monsters for fighting. You would think that they would, like... That seems so weird for them to be like, yeah, fighting's bad. Now let's go battle for badges. Like, that's such a weird...
Yeah.
That's such a weird story to have for specifically a monster battling game, but... It was not that I was putting that much thought into it when I was a kid, but I was thinking back to it now, and I was like, that movie is not going. I'm not gonna watch it because there's no way it aged well.
No, yeah,
and then agree. And then like Team Rocket shows up and does nothing.
Oh yeah, Team Rocket never does anything.
Seriously, like they didn't play any role in anything at all. From what I can tell, all they did was just hang out. Like
they're just a filler or just like exposition to explain what's going on.
They were the Mater of cars. Team Rocket is Mater.
So harsh.
So number 5 is Pokemon the movie. Number 4 we already talked about is Warcraft. The story was way too expansive for. They're on opposite sides of the spectrum. Pokemon, good versus evil, fighting is bad. You know, get a bit more complex than that. World of Warcraft, Galgamesh from the Tekahedron universe.
Tekahedron universe.
You know, let's in some spots soften it up, in other spots, you know, beef it up a little bit more. Yeah. They're both on opposite sides of the spectrum. Number 3 is Angry Birds.
Yeah, I just didn't even bother with that. I just no.
I didn't know why I watched it, but I watched it.
Like, I watched it too, but I even wanted to call Angry Birds a game. So I was like, I'm just gonna ignore this.
Yeah. Angry Birds,
I watched it, yeah. No, it's like... I don't know what to even say about it.
The comedy in the first... I'll give it 20 minutes. The comedy in the first 20 minutes, I thought was actually kind of funny. It's just like this dude who's got an anger problem, and everyone's like, all hunky-dory, like, everyone loves everyone, and this dude's like, no, fuck everything fucking sucks. Like, in the first 20 minutes, I was like, I'm actually gonna like the Angry Birds movie. This is gonna be good.
Likewise, I thought it was gonna be good too.
And then, I don't know, I just watched it on Netflix. I didn't go to a movie theater or anything on it, thank God. But, and typically, I mean, obviously I'm biased. I like to think that I have a pretty sophisticated idea of, like, not sophisticated is the wrong word, but I think that the movies that I like generally are, like, you know, there's movies and there's films. I like to think that in terms of quality, like, I can determine what makes a good movie or not. Granted, like I said, that's a totally biased thing. Who's gonna be like, I watch shit movies?
Yeah.
But I was actually surprised to say, like, wow, Angry Birds is not as bad as I thought it was going to be. And then it just took a fucking downward slope. The second that they were like, oh shit, that's right, this has to be Angry Birds. And so they incorporated, like, the pigs and, like, now we build towers out of bullshit and here's a trampoline. And they're like, how, like, once they started referencing the game, then it was like, oh god, no. It was so bad. But, like, for the first, when they were just introducing the characters and the characters were just, like, themselves, like, that was cool. It was fine. But it went so downhill so fast once they started, like, actually being like, oh yeah, it's birds versus naked pigs, and the pigs, they like to shake their butts and trampolines.
My favorite thing was just the main Angry Bird just did not like the guy that gave everyone hugs. He's like, no, you're just creepy, alright, just stop it. No.
Yeah.
Just no, I laughed at that part.
That's what I mean, like, the movie's just... When I watched it, I was like, I'm not gonna like this. Like, my expectations were dead low. And then the first 20 minutes, I was like, I've actually laughed a little bit at this movie. Like, that's more than I was expecting. It would never be a good movie, but it was exceeding my very low expectations, and then it was just a fucking cliff of, like, downward just hatred.
And then it's like, what is happening? None of this makes sense.
The pigs showed up and they're like, we got big butts, and we're all... And it's just like, oh, no. All the writers got fired.
It's like, fuck it, just make it like the game. But the game doesn't have a story. We'll just do anything. Just have to finish it.
Yeah. So, those are my lower 5. Number 5, Pokemon the movie. Number 4, Warcraft. Number 3, Angry Birds.
My number 2 is Doom.
Yeah.
Yeah. It just starts, merging starts, everyone's in the thing, everyone just has these weird dialogue with each other. It's like, oh yeah, you know, you should have left, my sister's here, yada yada yada. And it's like, acting was bad, design was bad. The only saving grace of the movie was when freaking The Rock gets killed off, and he's like, but like, I'm The Rock or something like that, and he just gets killed, which I thought was pretty cool. was kind of a funny moment. That was like only one of the funny moments. And then it got really weird when it goes into first person. And I was like, all right.
I don't think anyone liked that.
Yeah, it's like, oh, remember it's a game too? Here's how the game played. The game never played it that way. And I was like, yeah, that just happened. It just felt like scene to scene to scene to scene. Like there was no cohesion to it at all. It just happened. That's like the best thing I can explain about the movie. It just happened, and that was it. And the only thing I remember of the movie really is the first person, and then when the Rock gets killed off, goes like, "But I'm the Rock," and he just dies. And that's all I really remember of that movie at all.
Yeah, there was not much to it.
So that's my number 2. What's your number 2?
So I'm gonna pull this one up on Google because there's a lot of Resident Evil movies, and there's one specifically that I thought was the worst. So
okay, I like the first one actually though. I enjoyed it.
Yeah. So this is like number 6 or 5 or something.
Okay, yeah, because they just did not stop making them though.
This is Resident Evil Retribution was the one I didn't like the most.
Is that the one with the town under ice?
Yeah.
Yeah, that one was stupid as fuck.
So they had like New York and Tokyo and all these other big cities in this ice laboratory.
Well, there were mock cities, and there were mock cities of these large cities, and like there were like life scales too, for some reason, in the Arctic.
Yeah, so the only reason that someone built mock cities of New York and Tokyo in the most expensive like city blocks on the planet is to simulate what a zombie infection would be like in those cities, which, I mean, like, why not just make one program?
Yeah.
Why not do everything full scale? It could be like,
what was the point?
If you like really needed to get that program done, you could hire like 50 dudes and give them a year. You didn't have to build New York from the ground up and Tokyo from the ground up and bring all those materials to the Arctic.
Clones of people to put them in these things and give them memories of these things.
Yeah.
And then give them vehicles and fire and systems, and you could have just made a program.
It's just
like you said.
And so the whole movie is they're stuck in this simulation, and the zombies are coming in, and they fight through all the cities of the world, and they're trying to get into the base to like, well, fuck you, whatever, it doesn't matter.
It just made no sense.
It was so goddamn dumb. The only reason that they made this idea for the movie is simply to be like, it would be cool if they were fighting here and there, and we can get some awesome, like, sweet shots of, like, you know, cars slamming into, you know, buildings and blowing up and whatever. Like, it does. Everything else sort of had a plot. That movie, they were just like, whatever, fuck it, they'll go watch it. It was like the South Park episode. Fuck you, you'll see it.
It's like people actually wanted a continuation of the story, but there was no continuation of the story at all, and it just made some other side plot that made no sense.
Yeah, it was bad.
I mean, people never took the story seriously, but they were just it was like one of those C movies you go to see just to see where they're going to take the story. And where they took it made literally no fucking sense. It was a fucking side story, basically, of a movie that was awful. It was terrible. Of an already bad movie, but it was bad but fun to watch. But this one just was not at all.
Yep.
Because it made no sense. You're just watching this and like, what am I, like, how is this part of the universe? Like, and they really made this? So it's like, what the fuck? I actually forgot about that movie.
It's so bad. But yeah, so that's my number 2, Resident Evil Retribution. Mike, what's your number 1?
Mario Bros.
No.
Is that like your favorite game to movie ever?
No, I just don't remember it enough, really. But
I remember it very well. It made no sense at all. Yoshi was a giant fucking dinosaur of clones that played a freaking harmonica. Or at least I think that's what everyone thought he was. The settings were so bad and confusing that you didn't know what the fuck you realized where they were at.
I remember it was like a metropolis that's never shown up ever.
Exactly.
It's not the Mushroom Kingdom. It was like, it looked like fucking Blade Runner, you know?
But in the ghetto of a ghetto. That's how bad it was. And then they just had this random goose slime in the movie that it was like had some living purpose but did nothing. The princess was an ugly woman. And it just was an awful movie altogether. It was such a mess. And the main bad guy wasn't even Bowser, who sort of semi-turns into... He was a human that turns into a giant lizard.
It was like the Koopas, but it was like they had small heads. It didn't make any gut. They didn't look anything like Koopas.
No, and the people thought that they were supposed to be Yoshis or something like that. And I was like... And then he becomes one giant one, and they shoot him with a laser beam out of nowhere. It just made no sense. And you came out going, what did I just watch?
Yeah. I really don't remember the movie that much, but...
It was just bad.
Yeah, I don't remember it at all, actually.
Yeah,
I remember seeing Yoshi as a dinosaur in one scene.
Yeah.
And then I remember they have to, like, jump through a cavern wall to get there. There's, like, a mirage that they jump in to get there. And those are, like, the two things I remember about the movie.
But yeah, that's my number one, Mario Brothers.
I'll have to watch it again, because I don't remember ever thinking, like, this movie's amazing, but...
Well, we're going to have, like, game night. We're going to see if we can find it somewhere and have it playing.
There's no way we're going to find that anywhere.
So you're giving your... what's your number one?
My number one is Doom, as you
Really?
mentioned.
That's your number one? I'm like, I know it's bad, but I didn't think it'd be, like, your top one.
It was your number two, though. I mean...
That's true.
Doom was... just bad. It didn't go anywhere. It was an action movie that didn't really even have a lot of action till the end. It was a whole lot of them like talking about science and bullshit, and then by the time that the action happened, they did the stupid fucking first person mode.
Oh yeah.
And
because he gets hyped up in his special genes, like, oh, he has to go into first person mode now. It's like, no, he doesn't.
Yeah, it was. I mean, you already said everything to say about it. It was so terrible. I don't really have honorable mentions, but I have movie adaptions that I didn't think were the worst.
Oh, okay.
I've got 4 of them. Or movies that show potential, I should say. First one is Final Fantasy Advent Children. That one,
yeah, it was good.
That one came out, and I really liked that one. Once again, it's not like amazing, but I thought that they did a good enough job. Like, if you go to see a video game movie, your expectations should be dead low. That one I thought held up to dead low expectations. Next one is the first Silent Hill movie. Once again, it wasn't amazing, but I thought it was decent. I thought that the...
What movie?
Silent Hill.
Silent Hill, oh yeah. I actually enjoyed the Silent Hill. I rewatched it again. When the first time I watched it, I didn't fully understand the story, but actually rewatching again recently, I actually understood the story, and I thought it was pretty good altogether.
Yeah.
I thought it had a very Silent Hill tone to it.
I thought that the worst parts about it were the beginning where she's talking with her husband and stuff. Like, those scenes weren't really done too well, but the scenes where she, like, gets captured by the monsters and wakes up in the diner, and the monsters are, like, those burnt-up babies. Like, a lot of that, it didn't really have the undertones of, like, Silent Hill 2, you're fighting monsters that are feminine because of your wife. Like, it didn't really have the undertones that Silent Hill has been known to have, but what it did have was it had the feel of Silent Hill.
Yeah.
It's like they copied it. They didn't understand what they were copying, but they copied it to a certain degree.
Yeah. The one thing I didn't fully like it was the ending. I thought the ending was too obscure in the end. At least for me.
Okay, yeah. I don't know. I kind of liked... I mean, we can agree to disagree. It's definitely interpretive of just, like, what you like in movies, but I enjoyed it.
No, I mean, you enjoyed the ending?
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't think it was bad, but I think the obscurity was too much for me to fully... I found the Super Mario Brothers.
Oh, shit, yeah. That's the entire Mario Brothers on YouTube.
Yep.
Okay, fuck, I guess we're watching that. But yeah, so, Silent Hill, I thought it held up the expectations that I had, being very low expectations. Movies that I think have potential, I wrote this list 2 weeks ago, so I didn't see the new Tomb Raider, but it didn't look terrible. The Tomb Raider's based on the game that came out
recently.
Yeah,
so it's the games were when she became the official Tomb Raider, when she's a little girl. Well, a teenager, to be exact.
Yeah. It's when she's kind of more like younger, naive. I don't really know anything about it, but that it's based off of that game, and that game specifically was pretty damn good.
Yeah, I still haven't played it yet. I need to play it.
So it has potential.
I have it.
Yeah. It has potential. I haven't seen anything to make me think, wow, this is going to be dog shit.
Yeah.
So that's why it's up there. I mean, that's why I think it might hold low expectations. And then, as stupid as it is to say, sometimes you just gotta have a completely ridiculous, just go see it to have fun type of movie.
Yeah.
And I think that Rampage is gonna be on there. I think that Rampage of just like...
Rampage?
the monsters beating up the city.
They're making a movie of that?
Yeah, with George.
Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah. That's right, with The Rock.
And it's got The Rock in it, which makes me more happy. Like, if you're going to make any sort of a fun movie, it better fucking have The Rock in it.
Yeah, and The Rock's been in so many damn movies.
Yeah, I know. He's turning into the... Who's
Nicolas Cage.
No. Who's the black guy in Shawshank Redemption that's doing the voiceover?
Morgan Freeman.
Yeah, he's turned into the Morgan Freeman these days of just like, he'll be in anything.
Yeah, I mean, at least they're all decent movies, besides Doom.
Yeah.
They're always like a good, and like even Doom was like, fuck it, why not? It's not like it killed his career, so.
Yeah, I mean, Morgan Freeman's been in a lot of bad movies too.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that every movie that The Rock's been in is good. It's just, he's becoming... It's so funny right now to see him in anything. Like, it's not bad.
The thing is, like, I think he's more like... I see it as more as like Nicolas Cage, but, but fun movies to watch, unlike Nicolas Cage's movies, who's in bloody every type of character role you can think of.
Right.
I mean, props for him to trying, but sadly, they just never turn out well.
Sure. And so, yeah, those are movies that I think have potential or were decent. So, moving on, games coming out. We don't really want to talk about Steam games necessarily. We just decided that now we might just brief over any AAA games coming out.
Okay.
A lot of the games that we go over on Steam, unless they really speak to us and we're going to pick it up, I mean, there's... If the game's just going to get forgotten about or we're never going to play it, then there's no really reason to mention it.
Yeah.
So, I'm not promising that I'm going to be playing these games, but they're games that if I was interested in and I didn't know were coming out, they're just kind of like a reminder, Yeah. This game's coming out. So, first one is March 23rd. So this came out 2 days ago, is A Way Out. And this is that co-op game where you escape prison with someone else.
It's a straight-up co-op game. You have to play with someone else.
Yep, Mike, you were kind of excited about this one.
Yeah, it looked pretty cool. I mean, I heard it's actually kind of more linear than I thought it was going to be. But it sounded very interesting, and the idea of actually escaping prison with someone else is pretty cool, in my mind.
Yeah, it looked good. I don't think I'd buy it full price, but...
And I hear it's like if one player's in a cutscene, the other player is still playing while they're in that cutscene. Or like if they get stuck in the conversation that's planned out, the other player is still moving around and playing and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Which is cool.
A New Way Out, it definitely... It sounds like you can do some deception or, bother this guy and someone else can search around the room like you were saying. That sounds like a really cool co-op idea that hasn't really been explored yet.
Yeah.
So that's A New Way Out. Next game, this came out as well 2 days ago. Ni no Kuni 2, The Revenant Kingdom. This is a kind of like JRPG anime style kind of game, but it's a second game in the series. I played the first one, and I thought that they kind of had too many ideas going on. It wasn't well executed, and from what I've heard of the reviews of this one is that they kind of have the same thing going on where it's kind of like you do city building, you do RPG, the story's there, but it's not... The story just kind of sucks.
I feel like, that's what I heard about the first one, and that's why I kind of stay away from that. They had so much that it was too much, and I'm sort of hearing that in the second one too. But I mean, some people like that, but that's just not my cup of tea. Yeah,
well, they were saying that the plot of this one is you play as a kid emperor, and you decide to make a new city that all the other cities are a part of. And so pretty much what it boils down to is you're trying to make like a peaceful city planet or like a peaceful city where all the people can live happily ever after or some like ridiculously 8-year-old plotline bullshit.
Yeah.
It just sounds way too hunky-dory.
And it's here that though it's like you don't need to play the first one at all to actually understand this one. It's supposed to be like 100 years after the first game.
Yeah, it's like way after the events of the first one. Last game I want to talk about, which this game I might actually get at some point. I mean, I'm playing Final Fantasy IX right now, so it'll be at least a week. But actually getting into some good news of games coming out. Far Cry 5.
I think I'm going to definitely pick that one up because the Far Cry games are pretty easy to just pick up and just play through and get through, which is nice. Even though they're open world games.
Yeah. And it's based in Montana, which, I mean, we're in Montana. Like, this looks like a really... Not that not that Montana's going to be anything like this in terms of like gun shooting.
Yeah, it's kind of a funny version of Montana, like a over the top version of it.
Yeah, but the point is if Far Cry, like hunting, like if you can do like fly fishing and doing hunting like you have been able to do in the previous Far Cries, it'd be cool to do that. I feel like it's kind of stupid to be like, let's go fly fishing in Far Cry versus let's just go fucking fly fishing. Like, it's kind of ridiculous, but at the same time, it kind of makes me want to play it a little bit more, you know?
Yeah.
And the story looks kind of cool. The bad guy that they have in it, I don't really know specifically a bunch about him, but I know that Far Cry 3 had a really cool bad guy, and it looks like they're trying to take a note from that game and be like, okay, this guy has to be beautiful. Like,
this one is the Far Cry 5 storyline is that it's just this cult that tries to take over a town hall that's like over a large, not a large, but a city in Montana, and then you and the locals are trying to stop them from doing that.
Yeah, which we're talking like 15 episodes of We Can't Code ago, but if anyone remembers, one of my favorite plot lines in games is the cult. Or this was like in our October episode when we were talking about like best horror plots, and I love cult takeovers. It's just awesome. So I really like the idea of this, but we'll see. I'm in the middle of some stuff right now, but I could definitely see myself picking this up in the future.
Yeah, same likewise.
Yeah,
I've always enjoyed the Far Cry games.
Yeah, so that's what's coming out, and that's coming out March 27th. So that's 2 days from when we're recording this. Like When I saw this, I didn't believe it was coming out in 2 days. This game, I thought it was like still 3 months away.
No, yeah. It's amazing how time flies.
Yeah. So, okay, that's generally it. Next week's top 5, we're going to be doing...
Loot systems.
Yep. So,
right there.
Loot systems of, I guess, most fun loot systems. Games that, if they are collectathons, or if not, like what... Yeah, I guess what's just the most fun loot system. I don't know why I'm trying to overcomplicate it.
No, yeah, it's fun and simple.
All right, I didn't really discuss this with Mike yet, so feel free to say yes or no. But I think I kind of like the idea of doing a top 5 and a low 5. I don't know if I could think of 10 total. Maybe we'll have to discuss this later. But I kind of like the idea of doing like the best loot systems and the worst loot systems.
Yeah, sure, I'll be down for that.
All right,
that'll be a lot of fun.
If we can think of 10. That if you have any issues with it, or if I do, I'll let you know. But let's try to aim for that, because that would be funny to do.
No,
what loose systems just sucked balls.
It was a lot of fun too when we did it with the controllers. That was my favorite one still. Like the top 5 controllers, and then when we did the top worst controller, that was a lot of fun. So
yeah,
I do like having the worst stuff because it's just fun to just destroy something that we don't like.
For sure, you got to recognize the good and the bad. So yeah, loot systems, top 5 and worst 5. Games that I'm going to be playing this week, I'm going to be sticking with Final Fantasy IX, and I can almost guarantee Mike and I are playing some Vermintide like immediately after this is done.
Oh yeah, for sure. I want to definitely... I love the game to death, and I want to see if I can fully play this game, so I'm going to kick down the graphic systems in my laptop.
Yeah.
Because that's another thing, too, the heads up about Vermintide 2. If you play a game for its graphics, you don't have a good PC, check your system specs with Vermintide 2, because it's actually a very demanding game. Because my laptop's still pretty good, though, because I have a dual graphics card in my system, and it's a 920, and I struggle with it.
Yeah.
So just a heads up to those people. I'm not knocking the game. I'm just, for those people that I'm not really big on graphics, I'm more on gameplay. But yeah, that's something that you should look into to see if your systems can run it on the high graphic system. Ben's destroys it, obviously, because he's got a fucking beast of a tower.
Mm-hmm.
That's gonna be my goal in the future too. Now is to build a tower. I think I might be buying the pieces slow together so I can get a PC tower together.
Buy it sooner than later. I've been hearing that because of mining and cryptocurrency, prices have been going up for
motherfuckers
graphics cards.
Damn.
Well, you can buy other stuff later, but
yeah,
if you see a good price on a graphics card, if you see a sale, I wouldn't wait.
I'm gonna be stopping and buy Newegg. The good old Newegg site. Help me out.
And do like slickdeals.com. They do some really good shit too.
PCparts.com too helps. Actually, no, it's PC Parts, sorry.
PC Part Picker.
Yeah, Picker, yeah. That site is a godsend. It gets all the sites, it gathers all the sites where you can get it from and shows you their prices. It even shows you if it's from the rebate and all the other stuff too, and if it's a good rebate too.
Right.
Which is awesome. That site does everything.
What are you going to be playing this week, Mike?
Breath of the Wild. My main goal is to finish Breath of the Wild. I got past it, just trying to get the armor pieces, so I'm back in the main quest again. And so I want to beat Breath of the Wild this week. And then
Damn.
That is my goal, actually. My goal is to beat it.
Hunker down, bud.
I know. And so that's my main goal, is to beat that. And after that, I'm going to definitely try to play some more Vermintide. And after that, I'm trying to think of what games I actually really are interested in playing. Again, I want to go through my list and see.
I was actually thinking about a resurgence of 7 Days to Die.
Oh, dude, if you play that, I'll play that. You know that.
All right.
I love 7 Days to Die.
We'll see.
I'm just like, I love playing 7 Days to Die. I can play that for hours on end. I have 89 hours. I'm pretty sure most of that is me mining, and I still fucking love mining in that game.
That's the thing, that's what it has to come down to, is just, if a game's gonna be repetitive, it has to be a fun repetition.
Yeah.
Mining in 7 Days to Die is... I'm not gonna say it's like as awesome as like Doom killing monsters, but in terms of repetition, it's pretty fun.
Yeah, it is.
It's pretty rewarding to find like an ore mine, or a coal vein or something.
Yeah, didn't they change it up though now that actually mining doesn't get you much materials?
It gets you... What is it? You can get lead and iron, but you can't get...
Remember that sulfur from it, I think, anymore, can you?
Yeah, you can't get nitrate. You can't get a lot of coal. You have to find the coal deposits on...
Yeah, they took a lot of it, so you have to explore to get the rest of the materials.
Either way, fucking love that game. But, yeah, I think that's it for this week here.
I think this next time, if we do pick up 7 Days to Die, we should try building our own base instead of, like, extending on, like, a pre-existing building.
That's the one thing I always want to do, but we always... Like, it's hard to do that right off the bat. You kind of have to force yourself into a spot, and it's just easy to start from there rather than move all your shit from one base to this new place.
Dude, the last time we played, when we had, like, mine tunnels going to separate buildings, was awesome.
That was so fun. I've got that place saved. If anything, we can just take all that shit and then just
build. Yeah, okay, yeah, why not just do that?
That sounds good. All right, yeah, we'll see you guys later. We'll see you guys next week.
Yeah, peace.